of destiny?
Everything. Actually, no.
Still got it.
It's still happening? It's still happening?
But the door is broken. Bro, look at the door.
Say, look, last week we talked about it. They were supposed to have a coaching advantage.
Yeah.
Mike Vrabel, Coach of the Year,
Yes.
over Mike McDonald. And I said, yeah, it's not a huge advantage, but this is their best advantage because I didn't think they had one anywhere else, Nick. Not in any other phase of the game.
Quarterback, you didn't think? You thought?
No, I thought Drake is better overall, but he hadn't been playing better in the playoffs.
You know what? That proved to be correct.
Yeah, exactly. Darnold's been playing better. So, but when they were out coached yesterday, Josh McDaniels, Mike Vrabel, no question about it, circles were coached around them. And once you took that away, then it was like they have no advantages whatsoever. Not on the offensive line, defensive line. They got pushed around. They got bullied. Nick, you had been calling it. Will Campbell, I mean, he got completely outclassed. He gave up 14 pressures. Yep. The most of any player in the NFL this entire season.
In any game, not just a playoff game, in any game.
2 sacks. I mean, so he'll be a center next year or a guard maybe or something like that. Guard. Yeah, so they need to move him. But that was obviously the problem. I thought also, Wilds, I thought that the offense was overly conservative.
Yes.
And like when Drake finally hit Mac Hollins on that touchdown pass in the fourth quarter, early in the fourth, I was kind of feeling like, okay, not that they could have been doing that all game, but where were these chances, taking these chances and airing it out? I get that Seattle's defense got a little softer at that point because they had a nice lead, but still, I felt like their game plan was, we don't want Drake to make any mistakes. They were afraid of him making some turnovers, and so they went conservative and said, we believe Darnold is going to make a mistake. I thought early on Darnold threw a couple of passes.
And we're close.
That looked like, I was thinking, an interception's coming in, and maybe a pick six the way he was throwing it.
I think that's what Vrabel was.
Yeah, so I think he was waiting for something like that, and then it obviously never occurred. And so I think that's part of the issue, Nick.
Do you want to go, KW, or you want me to go?
No, I don't want to go for the next days. I'm going to Daytona on Thursday.
So listen, both teams looked exactly like they looked all playoffs.
That's true.
That's what happened. And you can say, well, the Seahawks defense wasn't dominant in the second playoff game. Man, for some reason or another, Matt Stafford, Sean McVay, that Rams offense, that personnel, that quarterback cracked this code. Nobody else did. And the Patriots, all playoffs, were a struggling offense. Now, again, I'm not sure because I got different weather for the first couple Patriots playoff games. Was there a blizzard yesterday that I missed?
I was
in Santa Clara? I'm not sure.
A Seattle blizzard.
It seemed gorgeous outside.
But the TV
I'm not
can lie
certain.
a little bit.
Listen,
foggy.
to your point, Brew, the offensive line was a disaster. And I know everybody, Next Gen Stats 6 hours before the game put out this fact. 8.5 of the 11.5 sacks Will Campbell allowed this year were to long-arm defensive linemen. And I know that was like going into the draft, it was like, a half-inch in arm length is a big. Seattle's top 3 pass rushers all have really long arms. That's who gave Will Campbell trouble all year. He was on skates the whole game. Vrabel and listen, I put the coaching edge at the top of the tiers. I think Vrabel's great. But at some point it went from coaching edge to like a propaganda machine. I had to read 3 articles within 72 hours of the Super Bowl like, guys, guess what Vrabel did? During practice, he had a halftime. And guess what? I don't know if you know this. Super Bowl halftimes, they're long. He had him do a long halftime. And even some reports, the players could hear outside of the locker room Bad Bunny playing. It's like, oh my God, this guy, right? And their skill position guys were outclassed and outmuscled by the Seahawks defenders.
Yeah.
And their defense that was very good all year, but not great.
Right.
I don't think it was a great defensive level of Seattle, Denver, or Houston's. Had a lot of almost got the pick on the first pass of the game. Almost got the pick right before half. Almost got to Darnold on sacks.
That's a lot of Darnold credit.
No,
too.
correct. Right. Darnold was able to do things Drake wasn't, and their quarterback, who I know we're going to talk about, shortly, was awful.
Yeah. I mean, listen, the propaganda is what they do all the time. They do it every year that, they did it for the Eagles, for the Chiefs, for the 49ers. It's just the media goes just all in on these two teams and elevates and celebrates them to just the maximum degree. So Nick calling that out is just kind of hilarious, considering what did we all just witness last year with the Kansas City Chiefs. Even when the Eagles were up like 24-0, everybody was just like, oh man, what can the Chiefs do? What I mean, it was just all about the Chiefs, very little about the Eagles. So for him to now act like he's shocked by that is just absurd. But, I don't think they had the only coaching advantage that I'd say that they had was Josh McDaniels, because he was actually a coach. He was the coordinator in Super Bowls in a way that Clint Kubiak and McDonald weren't. Ray Bull has never coached in a Super Bowl. Okay? He's played in Super Bowls. That's different. Playing and coaching are completely different. Okay? Like night and day. I don't care if you've played in 10 Super Bowls and you've won 10 Super Bowls. It's not coaching. It's just completely different. It's completely different. So I didn't think there was really that much of a coaching advantage there. And I don't think that Josh McDaniels was necessarily outcoached. The Seattle Seahawks defense was great, and Drake May wasn't good enough. He did not elevate. And yeah, the defense, you want to talk about outcoaching? The defense for the Patriots, and excuse me as I sneeze on the truth. What I was about to say, my sneeze just completely disrupted me. The defense was great. They held them to nothing but field goals, essentially. Eventually, obviously, the touchdowns came. But the first touchdown didn't come until the fourth quarter or something. It was 9-0 at halftime, and the defense was doing their job. There it is. Sam Darnold at halftime was 9 for 22. 88 yards, 4 yards per attempt, at a 52.8 passer rating. Now, the run game they were struggling a little bit with, but 17 carries for 95 yards. They had a couple really beautiful defensive plays, and the score was 9-0. You held them to, what did it get up to? 15-0, I think is what it was. And then the touchdown came. I think that's the way how it unfolded. But regardless, it's like the defense did their job. Varel did his job defensively. That's the reality. Now, the problem is on the other side of the ball at halftime, yeah, Drake goes 6 for 152. Now, they could not run the ball. The really difference in that first half was that Sam Darnold made a couple passes. Seriously, it was really only like 2 really truly where you were like, whoa, and a beautiful catch by Kupp. Drake May did not have that, and they could not run the ball. That's the difference between being 9-0 and the score being like 0-0 or 3-0 or something. That's the difference right there. That's why I said this game was really won in that first half. But then as we got into the fourth quarter, and this is why I took a screenshot of this, because now it's 19-0. Now things are, broken open a bit. And so, right, I guess that was 4 field goals, and then the touchdown rating. 3 times 4 is 12 plus the 7. Drake May was 8 for 18 for 60 yards, 3.3 yards per attempt, 5 sacks, and 53 passer rating, and they had 57 rushing yards. And Drake May was not able to overcome that in a way that then made the offense run more smoothly or force the defense to now be a little bit more in trouble. It's not a matter of just not having the run game, because we've seen in previous Super Bowls, like Jalen Hurts having to overcome lack of run support. And when you then now use your legs, and that's why I said going into this game, Drake May, in order for the Patriots to win, he will have to break Jalen's Super Bowl record. And Drake May was never able to really do that. He was never able to break free and do that. And then there didn't open up anything else in the passing game, in a lot of ways. I don't really care what else happened after this point because, yeah, he made some nice throws and some plays at that point, but like it was completely different at that point. And then when the game did start to get a close when it was within range. At this point, Drake May throws the interception and, misses the one throw to. Who did he miss it to? I forget where he had like the wide. Was it Hunter Henry? Where he had the wide open pass and he just straight up missed. They were in that fourth quarter. There were plays to be made that Collinsworth was just like, oh man, you know what? What is that decision? What is that throw you're making, right? How are you missing that throw? Not being able to understand where the pressure is coming from like that. That ended up being a huge difference. I'm not going to go out here and say that if the Patriots had a better quarterback, they win the game. You guys all know I think Drake May is awesome, but in this type of moment, I like to try to think like, what if they had Mahomes? What if they had Josh? What if they had Lamar? What if they had Jalen? What if they had, just go through all the quarterbacks? I think the game does change. I think the game gets a lot closer. And then does that force the Patriots, or excuse me, the Seahawks now to play differently offensively? And then does that force turnovers? Like that's the domino. The fact was that the offense could not do anything. So the Seahawks did not have to change how they wanted to play. They were able to be completely conservative and just kick field. They literally just kept kicking field goals. Did not matter. How many times was it like 3rd and long for the Seahawks and they just handed the ball off, They just conceded. All right, it's fine. We'll punt. We'll kick a field goal. Whatever. It's all good. You never force Sam to have to play in an uncomfortable way to force him to make that mistake. And so, yeah, if Drake May could just be like 10% better, rip off a couple runs here and there, just make a couple throws. Seriously, you just have rip off a couple runs and make a couple throws, the game fundamentally changes. Even something as simple as going into the halftime 9-3 is different than 9-0. It sounds silly to say out loud, but it is. It's different. It really is. It's a one-score game. Coming out of that half, they score a touchdown. They have the lead now, right? Like that is a massive difference, but they came out of that half and they couldn't move the ball. It was very reminiscent of the Chiefs against the Eagles coming out of that second half, and I was like, wow, even after halftime, there's nothing for them to gain here, which now continues to put the complete control of the Seahawks. Now they're like, oh great, we don't have to do anything different now. We don't have to do anything different now, and that's what I said. You're going to have to force the Seahawks to be uncomfortable, to not be at their best, and Drake May has to use his legs. They weren't able to do any of that. They were really not able to do any of that, and that's ultimately what went wrong. It was those two things. But if you could just get a little bit marginal better play on the offense, or just get the run game going something, then yeah, it is a domino that falls that could have transformed this game. Not saying you would have won, not saying that the Seahawks weren't more than capable of handling that and still putting up point, and doing what they needed to do, but you never pressed, you never pushed it. And so that's why we got the game that we got. 29-13, New England Patriots' fault. And I know everyone's going to dunk on Drake May. And it's unnecessary, quite frankly. But to me, that's ultimately what went wrong. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the New England Patriots falling to the Seattle Seahawks? What do you think ultimately went wrong for them? Let me know your thoughts. I read every single comment. So, you agree with me or disagree with me? Either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get into some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all generally feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.